And welcome back to the special edition of Central Coast News here at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. I'm Mark, this is Jazz.
So of course not everyone can be a professional race car driver and go zipping around this racetrack to really see what they see through the windshield, behind the steering wheel. But I got that opportunity for a ride along. I was a little nervous. Check it out.
You hold this out, slip it over your ears, and then I'll help you buckle in under the chin.
It's a lap or two I'll never forget, but safety first.
These aren't what the drivers wear. This is just pace car.
No. Yeah, this is just pace car ride.
My adrenaline was pumping as I walked to my Mazda MX-5 Cup car. Yeah, they gave me one of the fastest pace cars for our laps around the famous Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca.
Uh-oh, we have the roll cage.
Yes.
This is a car that would normally run in the Playboy Cup Series.
Race control, H14, where are they coming up? Right?
My driver, Greg Garneau. He says racing never gets boring. He's been driving around this track since 1988.
How fast can this thing go?
We'll hit about 120,
Okay.
but in the turns we're going to be doing about 90. That's where it's really exciting.
Enough talking, let's go. I didn't know what to expect at first. Would I even be able to keep my eyes open? But as we went about 110 at the fastest point of the track, turn 1, I could begin to see how race car drivers are addicted to this sport, the speed. This car took some of the turns at close to 80 miles an hour. Now, mind you, prototype cars can hit 170 plus. I hung on around the corkscrew. At some points, I couldn't even see the ground or what was coming up next. Drivers have to memorize this track and know every curve, bump, and turn. Then it was all over. So on shaking legs, I emerged from the car, content to be the passenger this time around.
And pretty neat to get that perspective with the GoPro camera.
And we almost lost the GoPro cam out of the car a couple of times. Don't tell her boss that. And I actually think next time I hit the racetrack, I'll take a ride in a prototype.
All right, Jess, you have your racing experience, but for decades now, females have been racing into motorsports, from Janet Guthrie to Lynn St. James, more recently Danica Patrick in the mainstream media. But year after year, more and more women are getting behind the wheel. This year, we caught up with one female racer, 21-year-old Ashley Freiberg. She's been moving up through the ranks, and this season, she made the switch to sports car racing. Now, we met Ashley when she was driving a Porsche in the GT3 Challenge Series, which raced at Mazda Raceway in May. She told us what it's like to compete at this level.
Danica has opened a lot of doors for myself, and she's actually inspired me in a lot of ways. But there's definitely those guys that really, can't handle a woman driving faster than them, and you really have to grow a thick skin really fast, and you have to learn how to deal with that, and you have to learn how to push back when they push at you and show.
Does that mean give them the bumper?
Yeah, you got to show them you're the real deal, because otherwise you're just going to get pushed around out there.
And she's proved she can definitely race with the boys. During her last showing at Mazda Raceway, she finished second in her race, and it's really neat when drivers like Ashley, Jazz, are able to excel, and when the helmet is on, you're just a driver. And even actor-driver Patrick Dempsey telling me, hey, women in racing, it's good for the sport.
Well, and I think women in racing like Patrick Dempsey, as well as his fans, they just follow him all over. So each year, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca gives a large portion of their proceeds to local charities. Our Ricardo Navarro profiled a program aimed at helping veterans on the Monterey Bay.
Among the hundreds of sailboats on the Monterey Bay Wharf sits the boat Independence. The boat does more than just sail out to sea, but is a vessel for disabled and wounded veterans to heal inside and out. It's all part of a diversion therapy program run by the Monterey Bay veterans.
What that does is take away the feeling of fear because they're thinking about going fishing.
They mainly do marine sports like fishing, captain courses, and even spreading of ashes onto sea. But right now, the organization is working on its second boat that will offer wounded vets more activities in the water.
The only facility of its kind in the nation that will deploy wheelchair people up to the quadriplegic, paraplegic, quad amputee level, deploy them 5 foot underwater in complete diving gear.
And since 1996, the Monterey Bay Veterans Organization have been coming here to the Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca racetracks to make the tracks more ADA compliant.
That we have to be there when the first disabled person gets there, and we don't leave until the last one is left.
And their program has grown from Laguna Seca to other events. But most importantly, the organization said it is there to not only make things easier, but change lives.
If they overcome going out in the boat, pretty easy to get them into a car, get them on a horse, get them out on a bike trail. It's real easy to let them know that they've just overcame something special.
I'm Ricardo Navarro, your Central Coast News.
We are hitting the straightaway on this special edition. Mazda Raceway sits on land, though, that was once a lake. Laguna Seca comes from the Spanish word for dry lagoon.
That dry lagoon was once part of Fort Ord, but was turned over to Monterey County in 1974. It's now managed by the Monterey Parks Department and is fueled by volunteers. More on that after the break.